Hello everyone, welcome to the Morrowind Book Club. Today we're going to be reading 5 songs of King Wulfharth. Author unknown. Shore's Tongue. The first song of King Wulfharth is ancient, circa First Era 500. After the defeat of the Alessian army at Glenumbria Moors, where King Hoag Merkiller was slain, Wulfharth of Atmora was elected by the Pact of Chieftains. His Thuum was so powerful that he could not verbally swear into the office, and scribes were used to draw up his oaths. Okay, so Thuum, if I'm remembering correctly, from my limited time playing Skyrim, is that not a dragon shout? And we learned that from Children of the Sky that technically all the Nords were capable of doing so. So, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and assume that this person is a Nord. Immediately thereafter, the scribes wrote down the first new law of his reign, a fiery reinstatement of the traditional Nordic pantheon. See, I knew it. I knew before we even got there. I knew it. I was like, because I am smart. I know lore. Yeah. The edicts were outlawed, their priests put to the stake, and their hall set ablaze. Oh, that's pleasant. The shadow of King Borgus had ended for a span. For his zealotry, King Wulfharth was called Shore's Tongue, and Ysmir, Dragon of the North. Keen's Son. The second song of King Wulfharth glorifies his deeds in the eyes of the old gods. He fights the eastern orcs and shouts their chief into hell. I don't know, I've just got this mental image of like, go to hell, and he's just so loud, you just like blast someone, and like it tears open a portal and just sends orcs into hell. Like I don't know, the mental image this conjures in my head is just very redundant mental image conjures in my head. Whatever. He rebuilds the 418th step of High Hrothgar, which had been damaged by a dragon. When he swallowed a thundercloud to keep his army from catching cold, the Nords called him the Breath of Keen. Is it Keen? Keen. Now, interesting, maybe not interesting, but is this the 5 songs of King Wulfharth? Now, is the book currently describing to me what the song is describing, or is this literally what is what the text in the book is saying? Because I was expecting, like a Tolkien-esque, like actual writing out the songs. These are songs describing the conquest or whatever, these stories of King Wulfharth. Is there an alternate definition to the word song that's a little bit more like a prose or a descriptive type thing? Yeah, a quick search doesn't really reveal anything. It can be seen as poetry, but most definitions tend to say that it's meant to go to music of some sort. So, and it seems very, well, let me see. Old Knocker. Let's try to see if there's a sort of a pattern to this. The third song of King Wulfharth tells of his death. Orki, an enemy god, had always tried to ruin the Nords, even in Atmora, where he stole their years away. Seeing the strength of King Wulfharth, Orki summoned the ghost of Alduin, Time Eater, again. Nearly every Nord was eaten down to 6 years old. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, one, I don't see any pattern. But I love the I love this. Some of the ghosts of Alduin, Time Eater. Nearly every Nord was eaten down to 6 years old. So I'm just picturing like this ghost dragon going by, and when it bites you, just chomp, and then boom, you're 6 years old. Boy Wulfharth pleaded to Shore, the dead chieftain of the gods, to help his people. Shore's own ghost then fought the Time Eater on the spirit plane, as he did at the beginning of time, and he won. And Orki's folk, the orcs, were ruined. I'm just okay. Orki's folk, is that someone's name? Is that like Orki the orc? Orki, like, okay. As boy Wulfharth watched the battle in the sky, he learned a new Thuum. What happens when you shake the dragon just so? He used this new magic to change his people back to normal. In his haste to save so many, though, he shook too many years out of himself. He grew older than the Greybeards and died. The flames of his pyre were said to have reached the hearth of Keen itself. The Ash King. The fourth song of King Wulfharth tells of his rebirth. The dwarves and devils of the eastern kingdoms had started to fight again, and the Nords hoped they might reclaim their ancient holdings there because of it. They planned an attack, but then gave up, knowing that they had no strong king to lead them. Then in walked the Devil of Dagoth, who swore he came in peace. Moreover, he told the Nords a wondrous thing. He knew where the Heart of Shor was. Long ago, the chief of the gods had been killed by elven giants, and they ripped out Shor's heart and used it as a standard to strike fear into the Nords. When they say a standard, I suspect, I'm not sure how that word's being used right now. Yeah, I figured there was a different definition that I wasn't aware of. One possible way of interpreting this is, let's see, a military or ceremonial flag carried on a pole or hoisted on a rope. So to me, it seems like, you know, it's something that they strung up to strike fear into the Nords. Now, something interesting here. Is we got the Devil of Dagoth, the Heart of Shor, and Shor's Heart. Now, and elven giants. Now, this strikes me as, what was it called? The Numidium, right? What if this is a tale? This is written by Nords. What if they had a different name for it? It's the exact same. It might be. They might be referring to what is it? Lorcan? It was Lorcan, right? But they have a different name for Lorcan. Shor. Because I don't know. There seems to be some similarities here, and I think that that's what this is what they're referring to, because we're here in Kagranak's library, and so I'm like, there's got to be a reason for some of the books that have been chosen, or the books that he had in his library. And so to me, it seems quite possible that this book here is describing, you know, Dagoth where it's actually describing, you know, something relevant to us, but through the eyes of, we'll say, a Nord, or someone from culturally a different place in Tamriel. Anyways, this worked until Ysgramor shouted some sense. I love that it's all in capitals. Shouted some sense. So that I'm gonna go ahead and guess that's a thum, a dragon chick. Shouted some sense. Where you just, you know, shout some sense into people. And the Nords fought back again, knowing that they were going to lose eventually. The elven giants hid the Heart of Shor so that the Nords might never have their god back. Yeah, interesting. Okay, maybe that this might be throwing a wrench into my theory, but okay. But here was the Devil of Dagoth with good news. The dwarves and devils of the Eastern Kingdom had his heart, and this was the reason for their recent unrest. The Nords asked the Devil of Dagoth why he might betray his country Mer. So, country Mer. Mer being the term for elves. So yeah, the Devil of Dagoth is clearly a dark elf in this case. And he said that the devils have betrayed each other since the beginning of time. And this was so. And so the Nords believed him. The tongues sung Shor's ghost into the world again. Shor gathered an army as he did of old, and then he sucked in the long-strewn ashes of King Wulfharth and remade him, for he needed a good general. But the Devil of Dagoth petitioned to that general too, and he pointed out his role as the blessed harbinger of this holy war. So Shor had two generals, the Ash King and the Devil of Dagoth, and he marched on the eastern kingdoms with all the sons of Skyrim. Interesting. Red Mountain, yeah, that's what I was suspecting, that this was somehow tied to our current overall quest here. The fifth song of King Wulfharth is sad. The survivors of the disaster came back under a red sky. That year is called Sun's Death. The Devil of Dagoth had tricked the Nords, for the Heart of Shor was not in the Eastern Kingdoms, and had never been there at all. As soon as Shor's army had got to Red Mountain, all the devils and dwarves fell upon them. Their sorcerers lifted the mountain and threw it onto Shor, trapping him underneath Red Mountain until the end of time. They slaughtered the sons of Skyrim, but not before King Wulfharth killed King Dumalakath, the dwarf orc, and doomed his people. Then Vec, the devil blasted the Ash King into hell, and it was over. Later, Keen lifted the ashes of Ysmir into the sky, saving him from hell and showing her sons the color of blood when it is brought by betrayal. And the Nords will never trust another devil again. Interesting. The secret song of Wulfharth, Ash King, the truth at Red Mountain. The heart of Shor was in Resdain, as Dagoth had promised. Now, they're not referring to it, the devil, what would they refer to him? The devil of Dagoth? Yeah. So I'm not sure if this is a different person, or it's, maybe a different author. Someone else came in later on. I don't know if this was a later addition to the book, because it is referring to Dagoth specifically, like in a different way. Anyways, as Dagoth had promised, as Shor's army approached the westernmost bank of the Inner Sea, they stared across at Red Mountain, where the Dwemerry armies had gathered. News from the scouts reported that the Chimeri forces had just left Narcissus, and that they were taking their time joining their cousins against the Nords. Yeah, this has got a very different writing style than what we've read up till now, which leads me to believe it might have a different author, or was added at a later time. Yeah. Yep. Anyways, Dagoth said that the tribunal had betrayed their king's trust, that they sent Dagoth to Lorcan, for that is what they called Shor in Resdain. See, I knew it! I knew it! So that the god might wreak vengeance on the dwarves for their hubris, that Nerevar's peace with the Dwemer would be the ruin of the Velothi way. This was the reason for the slow muster, Dagoth said. The armies grow, and Lorcan, for that is what they called Shor in Resdain, said, I do not wreak vengeance on the dwarves for the reasons that the tribunal might believe I do. Nevertheless, it is true that they will die by my hand, and whoever should side with them. This Nerevar is the son of Boethia. I always get mixed up with Boethia and Baranziah. Boethia. I don't remember who crap. We read about Boethia. I don't remember anything about her. I'll have to do a bit of a refresher here. According to this, if we're to tie this all into us, this is our mother, I guess, right? One of the strongest Padomikes. He's a hero to the people despite his tribunal, and he shall muster enough that this battle will be harder going still. We will need more than what we have, and so Dagoth, who wanted the dwarves as dead as the tribunal did, went to Kogarun and summoned his house, Chapthil, his Nixhounds, his wizards, archers, his stolen men of brass. Interesting, Nixhounds. So are Nixhounds... Yeah, I guess they could just be wild animals, but I guess they are used in some sense, like a military sense, by Dagoth. That's interesting. Like, do they ride on the Nixhounds? Like, have they tamed them? Like, now my mind's starting to go to like different creatures. I'm like, well, they used the Guars and stuff. What if they had like an entire force of like cliff racers? There's enough cliff racers. What if you could tame cliff racers and have that be like your air force? That'd be fun. Anyways, sorry. And the Ash King, Wulfharth, Hori Ysmir, went and made peace with the orcs in spite of his Nordic blood, and they brought many warriors, but no wizards at all. Many Nords could not bring themselves to ally with their traditional enemies, even in the face of Red Mountain. They were close to desertion. Then Wulfharth said, "Don't you see where you really are? Don't you know who Shor really is? Don't you know what this war is?" And they looked from the king to the god to the devils and orcs, and some knew, really knew, and they are the ones that stayed. The Doom Drum. Nerevar carried Keening, a dagger made of the sound of the shadow of the moons. His champions were Dumak Dwarf King, who carried a hammer of divine mass. That would be Sunder? Wait, Keening. Yes. Wait, was it Keening? No, you idiot. He just said Keening. Yeah, so it would be Sunder. Okay. I'm sorry, Sunder. When I think Sunder, I think of like breaking something apart or like tearing something apart. So to me, I think blade, but yeah, the Sunder would be the hammer. And Alandro Sul, who was the immortal son of Azura and wore the Wraith Mail. Wraith Mail? No, that's not Wraith Guard. Is that what they're calling the glove? What if there used to be an entire suit of it? They met Lorcan at the last battle of Red Mountain. Lorcan had his heart again, but he had long been from it, and he needed time. Wulfharth met Sul, but could not strike him, and he fell from grievous wounds. But not before shouting, Sul blind. Daggoth met Dumak and slew him, but not before Sunder struck his lord's heart. Nerevar turned away from Lorcan and struck down Daggoth in rage, but he took a mortal wound from Lorcan in turn. But Nerevar feigned the death that was coming early, and so struck Lorcan with surprise on his side. The heart had been made solid by Sunder's tuning blow, and Keening could now cut it out. And it was cut out, and Lorcan was defeated, and the whole ordeal was thought over. Okay, so to me, this here, this is important. I feel like this is, this tells us a few things. Okay, so, I'm looking at the order here. So Sul had, Wraith Mail. So I'm going to assume that, I like the idea of thinking that it was an entire suit of armor, but only the glove currently, survived. So I'm going to go ahead and just say that he had Wraith Guard. So he goes ahead and dies. Then Dumak goes ahead and dies, but not before Sunder struck his lord's heart. Now, this tells us that after Sunder hits the heart, the heart was made solid by Sunder's tuning blow. And Keening could now cut it out. So, I seem to remember there being something about needing to use Keening and Sunder in a certain way when dealing with Daggoth. Like people have mentioned stuff, like I remember reading, but I never really paid too much attention to it because I was trying not to like spoil myself. But after reading this, to me, this sounds like I need to use Sunder first on this heart, and that will make it hittable by Keening. That sounds right to me. Now, the other important little detail in this is if this is historically accurate, this tells us a little bit of. Wait a second. Wait, hold on. So this is not the battle at Red Mountain. Is this the battle at Red Mountain? See, this is what's messing me up here. Okay. Nerevar turned away from Lorcan and struck down Daggoth in rage, but he took a mortal wound from Lorcan in turn. Okay, so to me, if he struck Daggoth but he took damage, so to me this says that if I attack Daggoth without dealing with the Heart of Lorcan, it will strike me, it will hurt me. Like, I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but like this strikes me as like boss fight, like, you know, like just like an old school like platform or something where you have to hit something first or hit something else before. Like, it's a little bit more complex than just brute strength. Now, the part that's been bothering me here though is this isn't the Battle of Red Mountain with Vivek and Almalexia and Siltha Sil, is it? Because let me see. But Nerevar feigned the death that was coming early, and so struck Lorcan with surprise on his side. And it was cut out, and Lorcan was defeated, and the whole ordeal was thought over. So no, I suspect that this was a fight that was much because there's been a little bit of like we've been trying to figure out exactly what happened with the whole deal with Nerevar and Vivek and the betrayal and, you know, them killing Nerevar. And, you know, I wasn't believing Vivek But in this one here, it's this here says that he took a mortal wound from Lorcan. Now, a mortal wound, I've typically understood that as like it's going to lead to death. I need to maybe check my definition before I see if this might actually be a telling of the story that might put Vivek in a better light. Give me a second. Okay, so yeah, reading the definitions here, like I looked it up. Yeah, and my understanding was correct. A mortal wound is a wound that will ultimately lead to death. So that means that Nerevar would have been killed by Lorcan. But this next line also throws a wrench into things. It says, but Nerevar feigned the death that was coming early, and so struck Lorcan with surprise on his side. So does this mean that feigned death? So feign the death. Now I don't believe that he means faked in that way. It's more of like sort of like a dodge, like he kind of. And it says that was coming early, so that implies that maybe. See, this line here, this is the one that throws the wrench to the whole thing. But Nerevar feigned the death that was coming early, and so struck Lorcan with surprise on his side. So does this mean that Nerevar took a mortal wound from Lorcan, but managed to survive it, or we'll say put off the death? Or does it mean that it was improperly classified as a mortal wound? That is interesting, because to me, the entire the whole events, everything that happens at Red Mountain with Vivek and stuff, can kind of get a little bit of light cast on it from this telling. Okay, this was a very interesting. I did not expect this book, The 5 Songs of King Wulfharth, to have such relevant information in it. But this is why we're reading Kagranak's library. There is stuff in here that is, I think, very fascinating to the lore and the game here. So, well, if you liked this reading, yeah, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, what is wrong with you? Just give the thumbs down and get lost. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What did you think of this? What's your interpretation of this? I know some people are probably going to be like, well, I played later games and I had it like spelled out for me, or I've read something and it spelled everything out for me. I'm just gonna go and spoil everything. Whatever. You know what? If you're here with me and you're coming up with interpretations, let me hear what you think down in the comment section here. Either way, whether you liked it, didn't like it, whatever your thoughts are. Until next time, I'd like to ask you all to game on.